Incipient incipience, or idiocy rising. Before we turn our attentions to Trump's culpability in inciting these attacks on our nation's capital, to understand the mindset of the attackers, we would do well to look at some of the words of those who supported Trump's voter fraud conspiracies and lies. For example, consider Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who seems to style himself after a Southern gentleman from the days of old. Yet Trump insulted Cruz's wife, calling her ugly, and Cruz's father, saying Cruz's father had a hand in the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Not that I condone this type of violence, but a great many of the Southern gentlemen Cruz styles himself out after would have found this sufficient cause to challenge Trump to a duel, pistols, at dawn. If they had not done this, one thing is certain: they would not have had their lips so permanently affixed to Trump's behind that one might think they had been superglued in that position. To a lively crowd that clapped and cheered often at a January 2nd, 2021 campaign rally for Georgia Senator Kelly Loeffler, ranting about Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Cruz said the following: "The men and women who are gathered here, you are patriots, just like the patriots gathered at Bunker Hill, just like the patriots gathered at Valley Forge, just like the patriots who forged this nation. The men and women gathered here and across the state of Georgia are fighting for the United States of America. And given what we're facing, in a very real sense, the men and women who are gathered here can decide the fate of Georgia and the fate of this country. You are here because you believe in freedom. You are here because you believe in the Constitution, the fundamental protections of liberties that we enjoy as Americans. And we are so proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with you as we defend the United States of America and defend our Constitution, as we defend our freedom. And we will not go quietly into the night. We will defend liberty into the future, and we are going to win." With his Ivy League education, Cruz was a bit more nuanced. He equivocated Trump's followers to the patriots who fought in the American Revolutionary War, particularly with respect to the specific circumstances of Bunker Hill and Valley Forge. You see, while the British defeated the American revolutionaries at the Battle of Bunker Hill, despite their losses, the revolutionaries inflicted significant casualties on the British. And for Americans, Valley Forge represents our legitimate government being displaced and forced to operate outside of our nation's capital. These two references could have had a profound effect on how the listeners felt about themselves and those in Congress with whom they disagreed. Or consider Alabama Republican Senator Mo Brooks' words at Trump's Save America rally that preceded the breach and the siege of our nation's capital, where Brooks yelled, "Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass. Our ancestors sacrificed their blood, their sweat, their fortunes, and sometimes their lives to give us, their descendants, an America that is the greatest nation in the world history." So I have a question for you. Are you willing to do the same? The crowd cheered. Louder! Are you willing to do what it takes to fight for America? The crowd cheered louder. Louder! Will you fight for America? The crowd cheered loudly. Or consider Rudy Giuliani's culpability in inciting these acts. At that same rally, which preceded this attack and from which this mob proceeded to the Capitol, Giuliani yelled that those who would not allow access to the voting machines and the voter ballots were dishonest criminals who were hiding evidence, and called for a trial by combat. After pulling the complete transcript of Donald Trump at the Save America rally, again, which immediately preceded the attack on our nation's capital by the listeners, I realized what Donald Trump was doing. Trump uses long, poorly structured and worded, and seemingly meandering diatribes to promote himself, repeat his lies, evoke emotions from his audience, and tell the listeners what he wants them to do, all the while couching in enough lawyer speak, which everyone knows he doesn't mean, to indemnify himself and his message from legal prosecution. This way he gets to convey his message, cry foul, saying he was misquoted when he isn't quoted in full, or force those who quote him more fully to repeat his falsehoods and self-promotion, while he creates a sufficient legal defense to plausibly deny ill intent. I'm not going to play his game. Rather than repeating his false statements and self-promotion and boring you with his meandering drivel, I will skip that and quote just the words that show Trump's true meaning.